ready to get going here with your casting today?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Take a measurement to figure out what type of sleeve and what size of sleeve we're going to use.
Sounds good.
All right.
What's this for?
This liner is going to be your new form of suspension. So instead of having a sock and just kind of have a plug fit where you just kind of fit into the socket, we're actually going to attach a lock at the end of this. So when you do lock into the prosthesis, it'll just be a matter of pushing in and you'll hear a click.
Oh, okay.
And then in order to come out, you'll go ahead and press a button. And then that's it.
Can I get this? And it's gel?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's silicone gel. And what I like to do is apply this type of alcohol and water. It kind of breaks the stickiness, so it makes it real easy for you to slide on. So we go distalent all the way contacting the end of the liner, and then we're just going to go ahead and slide it on. How's that feel?
Feels good. And once I get used to it, it'll be quicker to slide it on and stuff.
Absolutely. You want to try it by yourself?
Sure.
So again, invest in one of these spray bottles. Makes life a lot easier.
Like lube myself up.
Yeah. All right. So again, like this, and spray. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not too hard.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this saran wrap over the liner, because the last thing you want to do is get your new liner dirty from the casting material.
Okay.
Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply this casting sock.
Glad I'm not walking out with all this on.
Yes. Nice and cool. And
Yeah, I
then
got
this strap is going to help keep everything suspended up,
Okay.
so it doesn't slide on us at all as we're casting. Not too tight, is it?
No, it feels good.
Cool. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing some little markings, and basically what we're marking is the trim lines of what the socket's going to look like, and also mark any bony prominence that we need to be careful of to give you relief, build-in reliefs into the socket.
Okay.
So the
Like
first
my
thing,
elbow and whatnot?
exactly, that's the first one I'm going to do, is indicate where your elbow is. Now, because you have a pin locking system, our trim lines don't have to be as radical, because the suspension is from the lock and not from suspension of the condyles.
Which is what I've been using to hold it on.
Yeah, exactly. So we're allowed to use a lower trim line here. And what that helps with is range of motion, number one, but then most importantly, suspension.
Actually, that's really good, because I think the line right now is like right here.
Right, so. You have any areas on your arm that if I touched them, cause you to go through the roof?
Oh, no, no.
No? No areas? All right.
But the only other bony area is right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mark that so we know. Put a nice relief there. All right, so this is plaster Paris. So basically this is embedded with plaster. So as I dip it in the water, I'm going to then roll it onto your arm here, and then within a few minutes it's going to harden and take shape of your limb.
Okay.
So the good thing is that we get an exact replica of what your arm looks like, so when you leave here we can start the process.
Feels good.
ahead and bend your elbow just a smidge. There you go.
Okay. This looks like one of those fun jobs.
Oh, yeah. Get to get playing the plaster all day.
Makes me miss mud.
So now we're just going to keep massaging in the plaster to make sure we get a nice smooth cast on the inside.
And you want my arm just stay where it is?
Just kind of relax, just in the position you are.
Okay.
As it sets, I'm going to kind of start to position your arm in the way. So it's starting to set up. I know you've got your liner on, but it starts to get a little bit warm.
Okay.
But you probably won't feel it because of the liner. So I'm just massaging in all the areas like the bony prominence, like your elbow, just so we know exactly where it is. So when we're fabricating the prosthesis, we know, again, exactly where to build the reliefs in.
Mm-hmm.
Also on that bone over here,
Yeah, right there.
the epicondyle, we're just giving a nice relief for it. So as I was mentioning reliefs before, the bony prominence need an area to fit into during the course of the day, so when you're picking up heavy objects you don't feel pressure against the bones. So that's why it's important that we capture these reliefs so we know to build extra space in those areas, so during the course of the day when you're moving your arm around and carrying those loads,
Mm-hmm.
it has a void in the socket to drop into so you don't feel pressure on that area.
It keeps from bruising and swelling, right?
Exactly. So let's see. Now a good fit is a good suction fit, so we want it to be a little tight coming off. And there we go.
Now I have a twin.
Now you've got a twin. So as you can see, the markings that I made on your arm earlier transposed them to the stockinette in here. So again, I have the exact trim lines, the exact measurements that I need in order to then take it back to our lab and fabricate it.
Okay.
So another thing I like to do, not only just taking the cast, but I also take measurements of your arm,
Okay.
just so I can have something to compare to as far as my cast.
And it'll be more accurate if I keep this on.
Exactly, because I cast it over it and you'll be fit with it. So just relax your arm just in that position. Perfect.
Okay. And since this arm is smaller, it's easy to match up to the other side.
As far as cosmetically, at the outcomes, we'll be able to match your right forearm and your wrist perfectly, because you're right. Being a congenital amputee, you know, your limb is a little bit smaller than your sound side, so as far as making it cosmetically sound, it'll look really good.
And would I have to spray it to take this back off?
A good idea, just because it helps clean it, not only clean it, but also allows you to just slide it off really easily without any of that tackiness barrier here.
Which helps keep it on when I have it inside of it.
Exactly. Go ahead. Okay, Frankie, so your job is done today. I'm going to take this now and go ahead and fill it with plaster.
Okay.
And then once it hardens, I'll be able to peel off this cast, and again, I'll have a perfect replica of what your arm looks like. We're then going to begin modifying the cast, reducing in certain areas where you can tolerate pressures, and then adding those reliefs in over the bones that are sensitive.
Here and here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to build up over those areas. Once we're done with the modification, we're then going to fabricate a check socket. So you'll come back in a few days, feel what the check socket feels like. Check socket is basically just a test fitting to make sure I've done my job correctly. You'll be able to slide it on, wear it. We might even let you go home with it, see how it feels around in your own environment.
Okay.
And if everything goes well, then when you'll come back, you'll leave it with us, and then we'll do the finishing.
Okay.
you remember the last time you were here, we were doing just a check socket fitting to make sure that everything fit well. And then just after that, we then went ahead and shaped the overall prosthesis to match your sound side. So hopefully you are satisfied with that shape. It actually looks pretty good and looks pretty symmetrical. So
It does.
So what we're going to do, remember, this is the first step. You're always going to put this on first. This is the silicone liner. It's got the lock in it. It's unlike your old one. Like your old one, you used to
You
kind of have
just slide my arm in, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I have to use a sock because my arm sweats, of course.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a plug fit. So this is going to provide you with much better suspension. So because it's so tacky, because it enhances the suspension, you're going to have to spray a little alcohol on the outside so it will slide easier onto your arm. So if you pick up a sprayer anywhere, it makes it a lot easier. I'll let you go ahead and apply it.
Okay.
There you go. Very good. Now we've got two suspension methods for you. One, this is kind of your everyday one. You can wear it. It's easy to remove. But when you're a little bit more active, we went ahead and provided also a suspension sleeve. So if you're active running or doing anything like that, you can apply this,
And
and
it'll
it'll
feel
give
tighter.
you that extra suspension so you don't feel like it's jostling around on you, and it'll fit you nice and snug. So why don't you go ahead and slip into there.
Okay.
And if it's a little snug, you can always apply a little bit of this to it.
Okay. Yeah, fits good. Yeah, with my other arm, I couldn't even, I had a piece right here which stopped me from lifting my arm up higher than this. And with this one, I can go way higher.
Pretty good.
And it's starting to make my arm bigger.
So do you mind this coming up a little bit higher? We can always trim that down.
No, that's actually fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually fine.
All right, very good. You want to see what it feels like with this as well?
Sure. That's what I was going to ask you. Does that have to go on before or after?
Nope, I was going to say we're going to have to release it. So to release it and to remove the prosthesis, go ahead and push that button in. You should just pop right out.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. It feels good. It's high here, but I can just move it down.
We can either do that or we can trim it.
But yeah, it feels good.
Go ahead and let's have you stand up and just check out the length and everything.
Mm-hmm. Didn't take long to make it all. Like usually, I thought it was going to take a lot longer than it actually did. And the length is really good. The color is good.
So what I remember back the first time we met, you came in for we were hosting a upper limb symposium day where you were able to check out all the new technology and try it out and see what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to try a lot of cool new technology and some things that were pretty impressive. And technology is only getting better nowadays. So I think that was step one. Step two was to get you back up to speed with your current prosthesis, since this has seen its day. It's got some nicks on it, so it was well worn. And obviously, this is how old?
That one's what is it? 6, 7 years old.
6 or 7 years old. So obviously, a prosthesis. I mean, upper limb, because you're not weight bearing and wearing it every day, it lasts a little longer. But even then, so 6 to 7 years is a long time to be wearing this. So this has treated you very well. But it's great that we were able to provide you this prosthesis that makes it a little bit more anatomical and enhances the matching of the color and everything. But I definitely think that in the future, once you're done with school and once you get going in the work world and everything, that I think that you're definitely going to need to probably upgrade to something for more functional if the demands require that in the workplace that you're going to be going to. But I mean, from day one, man, you've had this amazing smile that you were just ready and gung ho to just address any challenges whatsoever. And we're happy to be able to provide this prosthesis for you.
That's how I get noticed, is the smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
They 100% let me pretty much design it myself because they wanted me to be happy with it when I left. So they didn't want to just give me something that they thought I would like. They would let me come in, test it, then if I like it, they'll change it if I don't. So I think being part of the process really helps because then you're leaving with something you actually wanted. So like them letting me come in from time to time to check on it and look at it and feel what's comfortable, that makes me, a lot more happier. This new arm, it means a lot more because it'll allow me to do a lot more, especially with my job. It's a lot comfortable so that I won't be sweating here and swelling up and, having to work through pain. Everything will be, run smoothly at work and I won't have to try to make it through the day in pain. If I was a new amputee and I was at the beginning of the process, I'd definitely choose West Coast Brace and Limb because they're more hands-on. It's like a family-oriented place. It's family-owned. The owner, he's accountable for everything that goes on here, so he makes everything run as smooth as possible.